Welcome to part 2. Now you guys just saw me make a bodice and a sleeve. So now if you didn't catch that video, I list all the measurements in the description for this avatar in that video. But like I said in the beginning, I use the edit avatar, draw on avatar, forget the name of this tool. But I use that to measure the avatar because when I try to use the other avatar line measurements, circumference measurements, it always glitches out and it ends up shutting off my computer. So this is my little workaround. I just make the dots where I want them to go, and then I record the measurements and I kind of round them up to the nearest 1/8 of an inch or 1/16, depending on what it is, type of garment that I'm doing. So right now I'm going to go ahead and make a pant. Make it, like I said, it's half the width of the body, but you're actually only using half for the front and half for the back. And then you go ahead and mirror your pattern before you sew it together. You'll see in my previous video I did not do that. And the garment flew off because I was in the draping brain and only doing one side. But this is digital, so you need the left and the right side to be sewn together in order to stay on the garment. So we're making a pant now. Right now I am following the measurement to go all the way up the waist without a waistband. So you'll see me cut apart like about 2 inches off of the waistband. So if it looks a little strange, that's why. I go ahead and make the full pant as if she did not have a waistband, or if the waistband was part of the pant. And I go ahead and drape it that way. But yeah, guys, this was fun to do. Just to see how, you know, just to get through it. Because I usually just, you know, I'm one of those people that just makes the shapes. Because I have shapes in my mind and I know how I want it to look, and I can just go ahead and make the shape that I want. But this is good if you're actually, you know, wanting to do several garments in a row. If you want to have a block that has your grading attached to it. If you want to have a block that has the rise that you want for your pant, or the armhole that you want for your tops, you can go ahead and make that. And, you know, that could be something that you use over and over again. If you know your armhole fits your sleeve, and if you know your front and back rise are balanced and your pant is balanced, you can go ahead and just design over those patterns using those, I want to say, stable measurements and stable shapes as a guide. And then you don't have to completely start from scratch. Just like in the real pattern making world, people use blocks so that they don't have to start from scratch for each garment every single time. So usually a block is made from a standard measurement for a customer. It's made in a standard format, very basic, nothing fancy or too designed into, so that designers can use it to create balanced garments with. So right now I'm making my front rise. I'm doing the same method that I did in the previous video. So my high hip line, my low hip line, my crotch line where I want it to be, and I'm going to convert all of those to base lines. Right now I'm creating my dart. And like I said, I do cut darts out. I don't do darts with fullness because I find that the fabric somehow gets caught in between. When you simulate it, it gets caught in between. So I am still cutting my darts. I'm not sold out on the tool for dart with fullness, or you know. So here I am. I'm going to cut that out. And yes, it is very high. The front rise is very high. I do end up, like I said, cutting off 2 inches. I don't know what I did here. I do skip over this part, I'm pretty sure. So go ahead. Yeah, all of a sudden it got deleted. So I kind of just cut certain things out just to spare you, because I get lost in the clicking, and you know, sometimes you click on the wrong thing. But guys, yes, so I just cut out the pant. It's a little long in the rise. I do shorten it eventually. You'll see when I cut off the top 2 inches of the waistband before I simulate it. but I get the shape that I want. I cut it while the points are still pointy, I'll say. Only because I shape it afterward. Usually if you do a you know, a pattern on pattern making paper or muslin, you kind of true your pattern and you make your lines straight, or you curve them. Right now that's kind of what I'm doing after I cut. So after I cut, I kind of see where I want it to go and where I want it to be before I drape it. And then once I'm feeling secure about the shape, then I go ahead and simulate it after sewing it up. So right now I'm ready to connect my lines and cut them off. Let's move that to the side. And now I'm going to go ahead and make a nice curve for my hip. And then I realized, why is this thing so long? So yeah, I go ahead and make my baselines. And then I start on the other side. So before I get carried away with too much detail, I want to make sure that I have a front and a back. Yeah, that's what I want. So I go back and I go ahead and cut that off 2 inches. And that looks a little bit more reasonable to me. So I'll go ahead and smooth that line out again. So I lied. I didn't wait till I do the back. But I do end up doing the same thing to the back, cutting off 2 inches and then going ahead and starting it over. What's the formula for how much I bring in the rise and how I make the dart? I kind of split everything into 4s. I take my center line and then I discover how much dart depth I want. In some pattern making books, they'll give you those dimensions of like what is the usual dart depth for a back or a front. Usually in the back you can be about, you know, 6 or 7 inches depending on the styling. For your dart, it could be about, you know, 1 to 2 inches wide, depending on how much, you know, the difference between your hip and your waist. That's how you find out how much dart you need. Whatever that difference is, that's how much you need to reduce from the hip to the waist. So it's all math, guys. You know, like I said, I recommend you getting a pattern book and just playing around with some of the dimensions and playing around with some of the shapes. Even if you take the pattern book and copy some things from the pattern book. Now here I did not do my split my line to get my pant opening. So if I split that line and then split it again, I do use the lines on the outside to make the pattern thing. So I'm going from the hip, the widest point of my hip, and I'm splitting that line in 4s and reducing it half and half to get the pant leg opening. So there's a lot of symmetry involved. There's a lot of I want to say balancing of numbers and balancing of parts of the body and areas. And you know, clothing is a very, very technical thing, because you're actually making something wrap around the body and fit and conform to the body. You're taking something flat and then you're making it round. So yes, it is mathematical. So now I've got my front and my back. Let me go ahead and create my symmetrical patterns with sewing. And I do make another mistake here, but I won't tell you until I make it. Sometimes in sewing you get mixed up. It's not like I never made a pair of pants before, but I didn't notice myself sewing my back rise and my front rise together. Like right here. Why did I do that? That's not right. That's not right. But I do figure it out once I'm ready to simulate. And you'll see. When my threads get my stitching gets caught up, I say, wait a minute, what's wrong with this picture? And then I figure it out. So like I said, you know, the more you use the program, the less trial and error there will be, and rightly so, because you'll be good at it. You know, practice makes permanent. Hopefully you can learn and they won't go ahead and change the program on you like some 3D programs are about to make a big so you see right here, okay, yes, so we know what happens. Why did you sew that front to the back and back to the front? That's not the way we do that. But yeah, some 3D programs are going to undergo massive changes. They're being phased out by the competition, and they're going to make some changes to bring up the game a bit. Optitex just announced that they're going to use DAZ 3D forms. They're going to find a way to integrate DAZ 3D. So now with these pants, I noticed that they're long and they're wide, so I start to narrow them a little bit, but I still keep the placement of where the baseline should be. So that part doesn't change, but I do change the width of the garment. So the rise doesn't really change, just the shape of it, but not the length of it. So now I can go ahead and tweak some of these lines that are making things irregular. So right at her waist needs to be straight, but I also need to give her a little bit more back dart depth because it's not cinching up enough to my liking. So now it fits on her waist. Let's take a look at where that rise is. I'm definitely not doing anything about the dart for these pants right now. Even though I see that little thing sticking up, I'm not going to press it. I'm not going to change the particle distance or anything at this point because I want to just get the shape that I want. I want to take a good look in my transparency and see where this rise hits. Do I like where it hits? Does it look like it gives her enough room to actually walk? Is it balanced? So right now I can see where I wanted it to hit at the high and low hip. I have the pants pulled up way high. So I'm just going to pull them down so I can see where they need to fit, where I intended them to fit without the waistband. So now, since I have cut them off 2 inches down from what I originally planned in the numbers, this is where the actual pant would fit. So looking at the rise, I see that because the pants are hitting where the high and low hip are, the waist is at the belly button. That rise is just a little bit too low. So here I start messing with the length of the pant. I do keep these pants long, and I'm going to show you why at the end of this video, why I keep them long and hanging at the ankles. There's a method to the madness. So I'm going to delete some of these lines. I'm going to pick up this rise. You can kind of see in your shadow area that rise and saddle could change. Like I like to pull my cursor points to be straight. I forget what you call those anchor points, those lines, those blue lines right there that help you pull and shape the curve. I like to keep them as straight as possible. That's how I know I'll get a nice good saddle shape. The saddle is the inside in between the crotch where you can't really see the shape there. So you can see it's still a little bit low and a little bit straight. So for the back, I need to scoop it out a little bit higher to where her posterior curves, and then it shapes a little bit better. So yeah, like I said, this is not a 1, 2, 3 fix. This is a balancing act. So now I'm going to go ahead and go for making a waistband. I'm not making a waistband that closes. I'm sewing it together. I'm not adding any zippers or anything, or, you know, how would you get into this pant? No, because this is a block. I'm making a waistband. that will fit this whole thing. And yeah, that's that. So 28.25, I'm going to give it another 1/2 inch and make it 28.75 by 2 inches, because that's what I cut off. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew that together. Let me get rid of this line. Now, like I said, I'm not putting any buttons or anything like that because this is a block garment. So basically, I'm establishing the shape of my rises, leg length, inseam, outseam, and with the waistband, I'm basically telling myself basically how, for these pants, what the waistband should be. Nearly perfect. I did give it a little bit of a 1/2 inch, so I am going to take that off, but little by little I'm going to make little tweaks to the shape of the waistband. I do end up taking off that whole 1/2 inch, you'll notice, but just to be safe, I made it a little bit bigger. So now I'm going to go ahead and take it off the top, and then I'll take it off the bottom, and then I'll add it back. So like I said, trial and error will happen a little bit less when you have blocks or when you've been doing actual pattern making in 3D, you know, over and over again. So the more practice, the more time you put in, the more you'll know these little nuances. So now I made it shorter, but it looks weird to me. And I know that the correct length for this avatar, to me, she seems short. And you'll see the other CLO avatar. When I put this outfit on the CLO avatar and I put her in heels, the pant length is just perfect. So I'm going to keep it like that for now. And then, you know, like I said, if I'm designing into something, I can always go ahead and create the pant length that I want. But right now I'm going to leave that like that. So changing the shape of the front just so it could hike up a little bit. It's too flat. I mean, too J-hooked. So right now you can see that I need a little bit less of a curve in the front. That will actually bring the back up a bit. And baya, she's got a nice little curve right there. So this is how you make a pant. Like I said, you have to get the shape that you want. What's gonna look good to you right now. There's a set of rules, but you are able to play within those rules to create garments. You're able to play in a way where you can pull out your own style and still get a good fit. Yes, so now I have this angled at the bottom. I could just remove that. And all in all, that waistband became a little bit less, actually a little bit more than 28.25. So it is what it is. It's probably exactly 28.25. I didn't pay attention to the number at the end, but there she is. So guys, this was the pant. This was making the block pant. I'm gonna save it, but then I'm also gonna go ahead and show you guys the difference. See how nice and balanced and straight those lines are. When you take this garment off of the alva form and you put it onto the CLO form, now I'm not just going to pick a random CLO form. I'm going to pick the same size and the same ASTM measurements. So I'm going to take Mara and I'm going to put Mara into the size 6. Curvy size 6. So I'm looking for the size 6. There she is. Now she got squat and short, just like the other Alvanon form. So I'm just going to make her a little bit taller. And then she has heels on. So I get kind of lost to where those garments are. But let's add the top and let's add the pant. I did make a dress too. I'll do a video about the dress another time. So remember, you can always reset it and restitch it. It doesn't when you open up another project and add a project, it doesn't delete anything. It comes in sewn together, so you can just go ahead and recreate it on your arrangement points. Not bad. Looking good. I'm going to bring in the pant now. Add. Hey. That pant actually came in lower, so it fell off. So I have to, because she has on the heels, it was not the same height distance. Didn't catch on that these were reversed until a second ago. My waistband falling out there. There you go. All right, let's see. Hey, not bad. Now you see how the length of the pant with the heels is actually a perfect length for high heels. Let's change the pose. Now, just going to go ahead and arrange it on the body. Try to get some of these body landmarks to be the same. And then I'm going to show you a side-by-side reference. Now, if I change her back to her short, stumpy proportions, she is nearly the same as the Alvanon form. Nearly the same. Why do I say nearly? When I show you the comparison, you'll see where these baselines hit. The shape of her shoulders, the slope of her back, the front chest, the cross front is more concave on this model. Her arm is slightly bent, where the other one is straight. So good news is she can wear this. There's no fit problems on this garment. So let's now go ahead and open both of them together. And then we'll look at these models side by side. Because CLO is using the same standard model formats, however, the balance of the bodies of their avatars are not, I want to say, ideal for garment making. They're good, they're great, the size is there, but the posture and the little nuances that they add are good, but they're not really that helpful in making a good balanced garment. When I say balanced, Alvanon takes so much data from the industry, from sales, from fitting so many people within, hundreds and hundreds of people within a size range, to figure out what is average. It's all math, people. So they get an average form and they use, you know, correct posture. And that's how you get a straight looking, look how straight she is. She's at attention. But for the CLO form, she's also at attention, but she's got like weird dimensions when it comes to her shoulders, when it comes to the slope of her chest, the arch of her back. I'm going to do a side-by-side comparison, guys. So I slowed this down a bit so you can get a good look at. She's got more muscle on her neck. So the neckline has a little bit more shape because of the neck muscle coming out of the back. So just like this one has zero fit issues, the CLO3D form, Mara, she also has 0, which is great. The arm, just the position of the arm is not as straight. However, it almost looks identical when you look at it side by side. Once I can get it up and get the other one going. I'm going to turn this one so you can see it. Turn, girl. I'm using keystrokes that I cannot remember. But anyway, the arm is good, but the CLO form has more of a bend, so the elbow sticking out a little bit more. So my line is not going as straight down, but it's really very, very close on the arm. If you look at the bust position, however, there's more slope. There's more concave back. Her back is so straight. Her posture is so good on the form. But it's not bad. I want to say it's like, you know, 6 and 1/2 dozen the other. The same, you know, same stuff. Yeah, the sleeve's good. I mean, the sleeve looks good on both forms. I think the position of the chest actually makes the garment hike up a little bit more on the CLO model, where the Alvanon form is, because her back is not so arched, it's allowing it to come a little bit more at the natural waist in the front. In the back, it's hitting at the same spot also. I can see more waistband on the back of the Alvanon form. On this one, I don't see that much more waistband. But I do see that her hip baseline is actually at a point. So that means she's got more roundness on the sides. She's not as flat on the sides as the Alvanon model. Now, as soon as I can get away from pulling things down, like I said, I was tempted to go ahead and tweak and refit this, but that's not the point of this experiment. So let's look at them apples to apples. Yeah, I do see more waistband. And the hip looks slightly more balanced. So that means she's also taking up that rise. Like this Alvanon form has more of a booty. So she's pulling it down. She's pulling the waistband down. The CLO form is a little bit flatter when it comes to the back is arched more and the posterior is flatter. So I mean, this is good. That's why I use the Alvanon forms. But if you know this, you can make adjustments accordingly if you're draping on CLO3D and you don't have access to the Alva forms. I forget not everybody has access. You can get access, just email someone. That's what I did. I asked for access. I got it. Anyway, guys, this is it. I'm going to start this series off with these 2 videos, but I'm going to walk you through everything. Grading. I'm going to walk you through saving PDF patterns. How to use this software for actual pattern making. That is the goal. So guys, enjoy your week. I'll try to get another one of these out by Friday. Like and subscribe. If you like it, subscribe. He likes it. Hey, Mikey. He subscribed. Guys, I'm thankful for everyone else who has already subscribed. Over 3,000 views in 1 year. This is good. It's been fun. I actually like doing these videos, you know. Yeah, this is good to just stare at. I think that's what I'm doing at the end of this video. Even while recording over this video, I'm just staring at it to see the differences. Like the shape at the top shoulder and the shape at the across front is just such a difference. Like the cap difference, because her shoulders are bowling out more. Take note so that you realize that if you're making a pattern just on the CLO avatars, you may need some adjustments when you print out that pattern. As opposed to Alvanon, I'm not favoring one over the other, but just realize the shapes that you're draping on, it's going to be, you know, the shape of your pattern. Luckily, they both look good. Like from there, they look pretty much on point with each other. And that's it, guys. Thanks so much for watching. If you have any other ideas, I'm going to try to get to some of these ideas and make quick little videos. Again, the runway video crashes my computer, so until I can get that straight, I'll do a tutorial after I get that straight. But that's it, guys. Have fun with CLO.